The year is 1456. Belgrade stands alone. At the edge of the Hungarian frontier rises a fortress many call the shield of Christendom. But today, even shields crack. Marching from the east comes a force so vast, so relentless, so unstoppable, that even the seasoned commanders of Europe whisper its name with dread. Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople. A sultan only 24 years old, yet feared across 3 continents. He brings with him 80,000 soldiers, janissaries, sipahis, azabs, sappers, engineers, and artillery masters trained by years of war. Behind them rumble siege guns capable of splitting stone walls with the force of thunder. Ottoman banners ripple like waves across the plains. Every city the Sultan has targeted so far has fallen. Every wall he's tested has broken. Every ruler who opposed him has bent the knee or been buried. And now, he wants Belgrade. Europe knows the pattern. Once the Ottomans break this fortress, nothing lies between them and the heartlands of Hungary. After that, Vienna, then Rome. The Pope issues desperate calls for aid. Kings debate, argue, hesitate. But help is not coming. Not from France, not from England, not from the Italian states, tearing at each other like wolves. Christendom is divided, exhausted, distracted. Belgrade is alone. Inside the fortress, fewer than 6,000 defenders. A handful of Hungarian soldiers, townsfolk, monks, and half-trained militia. No king, no royal army, just a garrison staring across the Danube at the dust columns rising from the Sultan's approach, knowing they stand against an empire. Many prepare for death. Many prepare for surrender, but one man does not. John of Capistrano, an elderly Franciscan friar, 70 years old, thin, ascetic, wrapped in a simple wool robe. A man who should be praying in a monastery. Instead, he marches at the head of thousands. Behind him trail peasants carrying farm tools, Hungarian villagers armed with axes and pitchforks, men and women who have never fought a battle in their lives. They come not as soldiers, but as believers. Capistrano raises his wooden cross above his head. The sun catches it, turning it into a lance of light. "We march not to die," he says, "but to deny the enemy even an inch of Christendom." With him rides another figure, one who knows war like few men alive. John Hunyadi, the White Knight of Hungary, a commander whose victories echo through decades of battle against the Turks, a man both feared and respected by the Mehmed himself. Hunyadi has no illusions. He knows the Christian forces are small, under-equipped, barely trained. He knows they cannot match Ottoman discipline or firepower. But he also knows something else. Walls do not break men. Men break walls. And as the Ottoman Empire descends upon Belgrade like a storm, Hunyadi whispers to Capistrano, "If they want this city, they will drown in their own blood before they touch its stones."
June 1456. The plains shake as the Ottoman army arrives. The defenders watch from the ramparts as endless columns of infantry stretch across the horizon. Wooden towers, artillery wagons, siege mantlets, an entire city of war rolling toward them. Then they hear it. The boom of cannon wheels, the metallic clank of janissary armor, the rhythmic beat of war drums so deep it vibrates the rib cage. Mehmed surveys Belgrade from horseback. Tall stone walls encircle the city, a fortress perched at the junction of the Danube and Sava rivers, thick, layered defenses, a castle within a fortress within a city. The Sultan smiles. Constantinople had thicker walls, he says, and I broke them in 2 months. He raises his hand. The order spreads through the ranks. Encamp. Surround the city. Cut it off from the world. Belgrade's siege has begun. Inside the city, fear thickens the air. Mothers clutch children. Men sharpen blades worn to the bone. Archers check that quivers again and again, knowing every arrow matters. But Hunyadi walks among them with calm eyes, Capistrano with burning conviction. Do not fear the number of the enemy. Fear only losing your courage.
Days pass. Then the earth shakes. Ottoman cannons open fire. The bombardment is relentless. Stone shatters. Dust erupts. Men are thrown from battlements as explosions ripple through the walls. Night provides no rest. Firebombs streak across the sky, turning darkness blood red. Ottoman engineers push siege towers forward. Archers rain death from above. Sappers dig tunnels beneath the walls, packing them with gunpowder. Every day, the fortress trembles. Every day, another section cracks. Hunyadi's men work without sleep, repairing breaches, reinforcing barricades, fighting fires, dragging bodies from the rubble. Still, the Ottomans come. Janissaries march in silent, perfect lines. Drums thunder. Cannon smoke covers the sky with a suffocating haze. Belgrade's defenders begin to believe what the rest of Europe already has. The city cannot endure. Then, on July 1st, everything changes. Hunyadi knows the city cannot hold indefinitely. He knows relief forces cannot reach them by land, so he makes a decision that shocks even his closest commanders. We attack, he says, by river. The Danube is blocked by a massive Ottoman boom chain, thick beams lashed together, guarded by warships. But Hunyadi does not flinch. He gathers a fleet of makeshift vessels, fishing boats, rafts, merchant barges, barely seaworthy, crudely reinforced. Over them flies the banner of the cross. As night falls, the Christian flotilla moves silently into the current. The moon glints off hundreds of blades. Capistrano stands at the bow of one boat, robe whipping in the wind, cross raised high. Ottoman watchmen spot them too late. Hunyadi's boats crash into the river chain. Axes swing, sparks fly, chains snap. The Christian boats surge forward like a released arrow. The river explodes into chaos. Ships ramming ships, men leaping from deck to deck, torches igniting sails. The Danube becomes a burning highway. By dawn, the impossible has happened. The blockade is broken. Belgrade is open. Supplies flow into the city. Reinforcements pour through the gates. And for the first time in weeks, the defenders feel hope. Mehmed II, furious, orders the final assault. Belgrade must fall now.
At sunrise, the hills around Belgrade erupt with drums. Ottoman banners unfurl. Siege ladders rise like a forest. Battalions of Janissaries assemble in flawless formation. Elite infantry feared across the world. Mehmed II rides before them, sword raised. Today we take Belgrade, he declares. Tomorrow we take Europe. The ground shakes as the first wave charges toward the walls. Arrows blacken the sky. Cannons pound the battlements. Siege towers roll forward on creaking wheels. The defenders brace for impact. The first collision is brutal. Ottoman troops swarm the lower walls, climbing ladders, hooking grapnels, hurling grenades. Hungarian soldiers fight them hand to hand, spears thrusting, swords flashing, boiling oil pouring down. Bodies fall by the dozens, then hundreds. But the Ottomans keep coming. Siege towers reach the walls. Janissaries leap onto the parapets, forming tight ranks, their scimitars slicing arcs of silver. A section of wall collapses under cannon fire. The Ottomans surge through the breach. It should have been the end. Instead, it becomes the beginning. John Hunyadi has waited for this moment. He orders every defender to fall back into the inner citadel. Narrow streets, tight angles, killing grounds. The Ottomans flood in. Their formations lose shape. Hunyadi strikes. Christian soldiers charge from alleyways, from rooftops, from hidden barricades. Spearmen drive into Ottoman flanks. Crossbow bolts tear through armored ranks. Molotov flames erupt under siege towers. Ottoman units trapped between walls and hidden traps begin to falter. Then Hunyadi gives the final order: kill the towers. His men hurl torches, barrels of pitch, flaming logs. Siege towers ignite in a raging inferno. Janissaries leap from the burning platforms into the streets below. The battlefield becomes a swirling vortex of smoke, fire, screams, steel. The Sultan watches, furious. His elite troops, men who have never retreated, are pushed back. But Mehmed does not accept defeat. He signals the final wave. The Janissaries advance again, silent, disciplined, deadly. The Christians are exhausted, their lines thin, their weapons dull, their strength failing. Hunyadi sees it. He knows the next charge will break them. But someone else moves first.
A ragged figure climbs the wall, bare feet, tattered robe, wooden cross raised high. John of Capistrano. He shouts so loudly it cuts through the thunder of battle, "Forward! For Christendom! Forward!" His voice ignites the defenders. Farmers with pitchforks charge the Janissaries. Priests swing maces. Boys, barely old enough to hold a sword, stand beside grizzled veterans. It is madness, but a madness fueled by faith, fearlessness, and desperation. The Christian line surges forward. The Janissaries collide with them and break. For the first time, Capistrano's militia drives them back through the breach, through the burning ruins of the lower town, back toward the Ottoman trenches. Mehmed II cannot believe what he sees. His invincible infantry, his pride, his elite, his symbol of imperial power, are retreating before men with farm tools. The Sultan orders his personal guard to hold the line. They do, but not for long, because Hunyadi has re-entered the fray. With him come the rested reinforcements from the citadel, veteran soldiers, armored cavalry, crossbowmen with full quivers. They slam into the Ottoman flank like a hammer hitting steel. The Janissary line collapses. Panic spreads. The Ottomans retreat. Then they run. Then the entire army breaks. 80,000 men fleeing in terror from a fortress that should have fallen in days.
Night falls over a battlefield littered with shattered siege towers, broken cannons, and abandoned tents. The Ottomans flee so fast they leave behind supplies, weapons, even their dead. Mehmed II is injured in the chaos, struck by an arrow. His confidence, unshakable since Constantinople, shatters. Hunyadi does not pursue far. He does not need to. The siege is broken. Belgrade stands. Inside the city, exhausted soldiers sink to their knees. Some weep, some laugh through tears. Some simply stare at the sunrise, unable to believe they are still alive. Capistrano falls to the ground, trembling with exhaustion. He weeps, not for victory, but for the countless dead. Hunyadi places a hand on his shoulder. "You saved the city," he whispers. "No," Capistrano replies. They saved it. He gestures to the people, farmers, laborers, boys, old men, who fought with the strength of giants. When dawn reveals the battlefield, their survivors understand the price they paid. Thousands dead, thousands more wounded, the Lord town in ruins, streets scorched and cracked. John Hunyadi himself falls ill with plague soon after the battle. The sickness spreads through the overcrowded city. Within weeks, the hero of Belgrade is dead. John of Capistrano, too, will die soon after, worn down by exhaustion and disease. The victory cost them everything, but it saved something greater, because if Belgrade had fallen, Mehmed's path to Hungary and Austria lay open. Vienna would have been isolated, Rome itself threatened. Instead, the Ottoman dream of conquering Central Europe is stalled for nearly 70 years. And the name Belgrade becomes a legend, a symbol, a rallying cry, a miracle. The Pope orders church bells across Europe to ring at noon every day to commemorate the victory. Some still ring today. Mehmed II returns to Constantinople humiliated, one of the few defeats in his brilliant career. But the legend grows not for him. It grows for the defenders. For Hunyadi, the White Knight whose tactics turned a hopeless siege into a stunning victory. For Capistrano, the old friar whose voice carried louder than the Sultan's cannons. For the farmers, monks, and peasants who stood against the might of an empire. For 6,000 Christians who stopped 80,000 Ottomans. History records it as the Siege of Belgrade, but to those who were there, it becomes something more. A moment where fate bent, where courage outweighed numbers, where faith broke steel, where ordinary men fought with the hearts of heroes. A moment where the frontier of Christendom did not crumble, but held. This was Belgrade, 1456, where a city became a shield, where a miracle was carved from fire and blood, where legends refused to die.